See, that's not just a number on a scale. It's the exhaustion. It's what you see in the mirror. It's a quiet shame. And it's the real starting point for a kind of authority, the kind you will never, ever find in a textbook.
Okay, so let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down this idea called the authority of the transformed gap. And what that really is a type of credibility that isn't earned in a classroom. It's earned in that space between who someone used to be and who they fought like hell to become.
And our story kicks off in a pretty unexpected place, the gym, where the rules of who's in charge got completely flipped upside down.
So on one hand, you've got this top-tier leadership coach. I mean, this guy has guided over 180 leaders. He is the expert, right? But on the other side, there's a strength coach, Pooja, a woman who's about half his age. And in that gym, all his experience, all his expertise, it doesn't matter. He's not the coach anymore. He's the coachee. And he's about to learn something he never saw coming.
You see, this lesson starts with a battle that's both physical and, maybe more importantly, mental. It's all about facing that invisible limit we set for ourselves. You know, that ceiling we build inside our own minds.
So the leadership coach walks in, and in his head, this is the number, 120 kilograms on the leg press. This is it, his absolute maximum, the end of the line. But Pooja, she just smiles and calmly adds more weight. Now it's 130. And you can just imagine it, every muscle is on fire. That little voice in his head is shouting, okay, for real now, this is it. This is literally everything I've got. And then she adds more. 135 kilos. The strain now is just immense. That feeling of hitting a solid brick wall, it's more certain than ever. This has to be the end.
But then, this happens. 140 kilograms. He pushes, and the weight actually moves. And in that one single moment, the whole story he'd been telling himself about his own limits just completely shatters. So the real question is, how did Pooja know? How did she know he had more in the tank than he did? And this is where we get to the heart of it all, the real source of her authority. It doesn't come from a certification or a manual. It comes from her past. You see, Pooja coaches from a place of deep, personal memory. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? She's not just guessing. She knows this feeling inside and out. She has lived in that exact moment of choice, that crossroads where your body is screaming, I'm done, but your mind has to decide whether to push through or to quit. And this right here is such a critical distinction. Sure, Pooja has credentials. She's got a master's in pharmacy. That's the degree hanging on the wall. But her real power, her real authority in that moment, it doesn't come from that piece of paper. It comes from the memory of her own struggle, from what it felt like to live with that daily reality. In that gym, that lived experience is worth so much more than any academic theory.
So her authority is built on three really powerful things. First, she's already been the coachee. She gets the vulnerability. She gets the self-doubt. Second, she has already broken through her own ceiling, so she knows it's possible. And third, and this is my favorite part, she carries the scar of her journey not as some old wound, but as a compass that helps her guide other people.
Which brings us right to this central concept, the whole point of our story today, the transformed gap.
So here it is, the key takeaway. It's this special kind of credibility that only belongs to people who have actually made the journey themselves. They don't just teach you the map, they can tell you what the terrain actually feels like under your feet, because they've walked it.
I mean, it's one thing to read about overcoming a challenge, right? But it is a completely different world to have actually lived through that fight. There's this huge gap between knowing something in your head and knowing it in your bones. And that is exactly why this kind of guidance is so powerful, so irreplaceable. A person who has crossed that gap, they know where the ground gets slippery, they know where the path gets steep, and they know where you need to dig deep and find that little bit of extra strength. They can show you the way, because it's a path they remember.
So, okay, what does all this actually mean for you? Well, it really invites us to look at the people we ask for guidance from in a totally new way. Just let that one sink in for a second. Your real limit, it's rarely the physical thing. It's the internal story you just keep playing on a loop about what you can and can't do. Pooja could help him break that story, because she'd already been forced to rewrite her own.
And that leaves us with this final, critical question to think about. When you look at your own mentors, your own coaches, are you learning from people who have credentials, or are you learning from people who carry the compass of a scar? Are you talking to someone who can truly understand your struggle because they've had one of their own? Or are you just trying to justify your limits to someone who's never had to face them?